Before we get started, two things. One, does anyone want to get out? Two, there is some context I need to provide. So my friend Skids over at League Entertainment made a video on Andor criticism from Star Wars Theory and That Star Wars Girl, also known as Anna. He responded to their points, and I'm going to link that in the description as well if you'd like to see that. Anna saw this video, accused it of taking her out of context and being dishonest, and I think she did a weak job countering the arguments. And Anna, in case you're watching this, you're welcome to join Skids and I for a Disagreement Day livestream if you still believe in your criticisms after this video. I would additionally like to thank Skids and TK9851 for assisting in some of the arguments you'll be seeing in this video. With that said, let's jump right into the response.
I got to talk about this hater video. Let's give a shout out to this dude for having his little minions spam my... To be fair, it was only 2.
Do you have proof of this? League Entertainment does not endorse spam of any kind to the people they respond to, so you're gonna need some evidence of this.
This is a channel called League Entertainment. Now, this is a southern gentleman, even though he lies and takes me out of context, and he edits it so that way the context is not there.
League Entertainment does not endorse deceit of any kind to the people they respond to, so you're gonna need some evidence of this.
That or the implied, and then later on, like, attempt at grape scenes that are, yes, actually in a Star Wars show. And remember, guys, Star Wars is a kid's show that's about space wizards with laser swords, and if you criticize in any way, shape, or form, well, you're just an overgrown man baby living in your mother's basement.
What are you? An idiot sandwich.
Bruh. Guys, okay, that was a joke, and when he cut it right here, okay, I feel like I should pull up my video. I'm gonna get my video pulled up for context. He literally... All you have to do is go watch my video. I'm making fun of the people that say that, because the people that say that are fucking retarded, and that's the excuses they use to where you can't criticize Star Wars videos.
Skids isn't calling you an idiot for highlighting hypocrisy in the Star Wars fandom. If you watched his video, you'd realize that what he's criticizing is the fact that in order to criticize Andor, critics are doing the same thing the people you're making fun of did in response to criticism towards Disney Star Wars by appealing to how the franchise is for children, except as a means to criticize the show for having an ill-fitting subject matter. Skids literally says this in the video. Did you watch it?
Plus, the whole space wizards intended for children mindset is being applied by you and the other critics of this series, but in reverse. Instead of the show being meant for kids, so you can't criticize it, you're implying the mindset that since Star Wars is meant for kids, there shouldn't be any mature themes or subject matters within it. Or at the very least that those subjects shouldn't be explored in a more adult manner.
You literally show a tweet in your video stating that this has no place in Star Wars, which you didn't justify to any meaningful capacity. Now, if Skids misinterpreted your reasoning, feel free to clarify to the class.
Space wizards with laser swords, and if you criticize in any way, shape, or form, well, you're just an overgrown man baby living in your mother's basement, right? So remember that. So that was me saying that that's a stupid criticism. See? But the way that this mofo presents it is that that was my criticism, bruh.
Because you literally said that essay has no place in Star Wars.
Explained this in my robot head response video, that this show is meant for older audiences, so I won't be repeating that point again.
I never said that it wasn't.
Then what's the problem with touching on the subject matter? What is the disagreement, and tell me why?
Instead of the show being meant for kids, so you can't criticize it, you're implying the mindset that since Star Wars is meant for kids, there shouldn't be any mature themes or subject matters within it. Or at the very least...
I never said that. If you watch my video, I literally say in it, they just had to switch out the word rape.
So let me get this straight. You're claiming that you don't have a problem with rape being touched upon in Star Wars. So to prove that point, you tell everyone that they can't even use the word to describe what happened? And just so we recall the context for why it was used, Bix was trying to justify why she killed this Imperial officer. She is defending herself when accused of killing this guy. Why wouldn't she say what actually happened? Do you want the characters to be idiots?
You don't have to put the word rape in it. All she had to have said was, he attacked me.
Ah, yes, because a respectful way to handle the topic of rape is to downplay the action when having to justify why a character defended themselves the way they did. Is this how you'd recount an actual instance of rape during a police report? Yo, officer, this guy, attacked this woman. Yeah, that's my side of it.
Not, he tried to rape me. All she had to say was, he attacked me. We all know what type of attack it was. It's very simple, but you have to watch my entire video.
Why can't you say the word when it's an apt description of what happened? It's like you're afraid of the subject matter being addressed in a blunt and honest way.
You know, and you have to understand, like, sarcasm and nuance. I know it's difficult.
Sounds hard. Really hard.
At least that those subjects shouldn't be explored in a more adult manner. I would honestly say that Star Wars is meant for everyone.
And I never said that it doesn't need to be explored.
You literally just said a minute ago that they shouldn't even say the word, despite the fact that it fits the situation and makes complete sense for the character to say.
I'm saying the way that it's done is retarded.
So according to Anna, it's done badly because a character explained what happened when the context called for it?
What?
In a sense, while not everyone will like it, everyone can like it, i.e., everyone has a chance to enjoy it. So why can't we have a piece of Star Wars media that is more adult-oriented? I want to argue that Star Wars is prime realistic.
Bruh, Anakin murdered younglings.
Which they explicitly recounted in Revenge of the Sith. So do you have an issue with Obi-Wan saying this?
I have seen a security hologram of him killing younglings.
You want, what more adult do you want? Like,
Skids didn't say it had to be more adult. He said that it can be.
They for having more adult-oriented content. Let's take the MCU, for example. Back before the current Disney Plus era,
okay, so now he starts talking about MCU shows that I've never watched and have no interest in, and he's trying to make that argument. It's like, why aren't you complaining about that? It's like...
Or he's trying to highlight a comparison by using commonly known examples of mature MCU content that have worked in execution and haven't faced similar backlash. You'd be having a field day with Daredevil if you're complaining about this in Andor.
I don't watch those shows. I've never made that argument. If you're gonna argue with my points and make a video about me, address the points that I make.
The video is titled, "The Worst Critics of Andor Have No Idea What They're Talking About." Did you read it? I'm confused as to what part of worst critics made you think the video was entirely about you. Even in his segment covering your video, he talks about critics as a whole who make these garbage arguments.
Marvel shows, we have them on Netflix. Those shows, such as Daredevil, Punisher, Jessica Jones, etc.
Also, there's a lot of... Netflix had cuties on it. What argument are you making?
What kind of meandering point is that? Netflix allowing a disgusting movie like Cuties has nothing to do with the fact that Netflix MCU shows handled more mature themes while still fitting into the world of the MCU, similar to how Andor fits into the world of Star Wars despite tackling more mature themes. This counter is a guilt by association at best. But let's reverse this real quick to show you why this is not ideal in discussion. You mentioned the fact that you were on EFAP earlier, when the hosts of that podcast believed Chaseface groomed a minor, but didn't publicly nor immediately warn their audience when the victim went public, despite the fact many of them were either doubting the victim or were unaware of the fact that there was a victim, and therefore thought it was still okay to trust this person that they believed groomed a minor. Oh, and I do have evidence of this linked in the description if you're curious. So, Anna, should I disregard everything you have to say because EFAP handled who they believe to have groomed a minor in an irresponsible manner? I don't think so. So let's not play the game of guilt by association.
Well, not being maturely rated were much darker and grittier than the main movies. And while those shows were very self-contained from the MCU, they were considered canon for years, until they weren't, until they were again, but that's besides the point. Anyway, they have much more...
See, there's no point. There is no... How am I the bad guy here?
No, Skid said that the canonicity of these shows flipping back and forth is besides the point. Not that there isn't a point. This doesn't change the fact that at its conception, it was meant to be tied to the MCU, and that's the final decision they made. And in spite of this, the more mature themes worked for those shows. And no, he's not saying you're a bad guy for this being true, he's making a comparison.
Address my argument, not some argument that you have with other people.
Okay, I get it. You haven't watched the Marvel shows, so you don't have a stake in this. Fair enough. As long as you stay consistent with that.
Because it wasn't just kids, everyone was meant to get some of the MCU. I don't see why that can't be applied to Andor. I would argue that not even Andor is the darkest piece of Star Wars.
Because they're two different things.
How would you know if they're two different things if you didn't watch the Marvel TV shows? You can't claim to have no stake in this because you haven't watched these shows, and therefore don't care, then immediately jump in to fight Skids on his comparison that you apparently didn't care about because you apparently didn't watch these shows.
You're comparing apples to fucking oranges, my dude.
Prove it.
You're comparing sun rays to the lunar phase of the moon. They're two different things, man. But guys, I'm the worst person. I'm the worst in all caps critic of Andor.
You could have avoided criticism on this entirely by saying you haven't seen the shows, which is a fair response. Now, without having seen the shows, you miraculously have concluded that these aren't the same situations. Something doesn't make sense here.
That'll be KOTOR 2, a game that I know that you're a fan of. That game is incredibly deep, so much so that I can't go into great detail about that. That would take too much time that I don't have.
Wait. You will talk about fucking Marvel shows that have nothing to fucking do with anything I've said, that have nothing to fucking do with Star Wars, but you bring up KOTOR 2 and you don't have time for KOTOR 2, my dude!
He said he wouldn't go into detail specifically about what makes KOTOR such a deep story in Star Wars. You would have a point if Skids went into depth about what makes Daredevil or any of the other Marvel shows deep, but he didn't. This is a false comparison.
I actually enjoy debates.
Awesome. We'd love to have you on Disagreement Day.
I couldn't watch Andor with my stepdaughter. You know, at least when this was coming out, like let's say a couple years ago. Now because she's older, but I couldn't watch this like with my nieces and nephew because when she says the word rape, it's gone. Like then you have to explain to kids what rape is. All she had to say was attack.
So you've spent minutes trying to tell Skids that you weren't making the Star Wars is for kids argument, only to appeal to the fact that you couldn't watch Andor with your stepdaughter because you need to explain to children what rape is.
Good job.
Here's a fresh reminder that Andor is rated TV-14, and you, as the parental figure, have the obligation to know what these ratings mean before exposing kids to that content. In other words, read.
The art of subtlety is lost. I think you can have really dark, twisted themes like that in movies and in TV shows, and it work.
What do you mean the art of subtlety was lost? Subtlety doesn't mean you always have to be vague and can never directly refer to what happened on screen. In fact, saying I was attacked doesn't even make the scene more subtle, it just makes it more vague. Vagueness isn't subtlety.
Again, a lot of these people that, I don't know if this gentleman, I'm not accusing you, League Entertainment dude.
His name is Skids. Put some respect on the man's name.
It comes from a place of closed-mindedness that I talked about in the last video, so I'll need you...
Wait, I'm closed-minded. Bruh. No, okay, that is not giving me the benefit. That's you being closed-minded towards me and not listening to any of my criticism.
bring your A game as to why the show isn't good.
People on my timeline going crazy. Wait, bring my A game as to why this shit is going good? Bruh, this is my A-ish game. Hold on, pause. I know. Oh my god, my face is stupid. Guys, you guys like my hair parted like that or parted down the middle like this? Immigration problems? No, it's Star Wars in a galaxy far, far away. Putting in this current day news headline clickbait stuff in Star Wars, it's not going to age well.
All right, why? Why isn't it going to age well? You don't.
If you let me finish, I tell ya.
And he tells you that you don't substantiate this, which you would hear if you let him finish.
Compare that to working a job.
It doesn't age well because America and American politics and America's border crisis is not the center of the universe.
That doesn't mean you can't have similar issues in Star Wars. I imagine that in a universe where space travel is so common, immigration problems are likely to arise, just as they have in our world. Really think about this for a second. Let's say aliens did exist in our universe and wanted to just enter the Earth on their own. Do you really think that our government leaders are just gonna allow that to happen without regulation, or that debates on this won't spark at all? Does that not make sense to you?
He's gonna bring up, I should probably just let it play, but he's gonna bring up Vietnam War. I'm sorry, but that I know it's not a world war, but that affected the entire world. That is different. America border crisis is not the same thing as the Vietnam War.
You do realize that border security is an issue present in every piece of territory, right? How do you think we establish territory to begin with, and what rules and regulations are set when we do? And you're forgetting that the galaxy is run by the Empire, while our world isn't run by a singular government.
I don't really substantiate this, so I don't have much to work off of. Plus, Star Wars has always taken inspiration from current political climates. You do know that George Lucas took much inspiration from the Vietnam War, right? Now we're in the...
Again, the Vietnam War is not the same as the illegals crossing the border into America.
Border security only exists in America, apparently.
Just 2 years before the first movie came out. That was pretty modern for its time. No one would argue that those movies aged poorly for that reason. In fact, the vast majority of people claim
That's because they're different.
The point being made is that if one didn't age poorly for taking inspiration from modern day politics, then how is this newer edition going to age poorly for the same reason? Anna never substantiates this to any meaningful capacity.
that they haven't aged at all besides some of the effects. The prequels even took some inspiration from the war on terror post 9/11 and the Cold War, which ended just a few years
Oh my God, you mean the wars that affected pretty much the entire globe, not a bunch of illegals crossing the border?
Oh yeah, because I totally remember how every country in the world was involved in 9/11, and what's even sillier about this distinction about other countries being involved is that the basis for immigration is for other countries to be involved. There are various causes for immigration that have to do with the current circumstances in their home countries.
I'm the one that is supposedly making terrible arguments.
I guess that's what you're best at, isn't it?
before those movies started in 1999. So why is it a bad thing inherently? I need more to work off of that you're just refusing to give me.
I'm not refusing to give you. It's common fucking sense.
No.
I always wondered why that show, like, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader existed, but now I know why.
Cause hot damn, you wanna know what's a scam? Your fucking education, nigga. That's what the scam is.
Which is my key point. If you guys are going to be making Star Wars and telling stories, they at the very least
It's so
have
weird
to be
watching
entertaining.
myself back.
This just isn't. And
I like how it's like putting the no one cares, but dude, you obviously care. You obviously care about my opinion because you made a video about me.
The meme isn't saying he doesn't care about your review. The meme is saying that he doesn't care if you find it entertaining or not, because that says nothing about what the show actually does. Therefore, it says nothing about the quality of the show. You can say it's not entertaining all you want, but if that's all you can provide us with, when we're searching for an explanation as to why referencing immigration issues is a bad thing, then we have nothing to work with. Therefore, we don't care about this reasoning. It means nothing.
That's subjective, and I'm not.
I like how he's flipping me off. It's like, what was your argument?
Why don't you let him finish what he's saying? He literally says in the video why what you just said is meaningless. Did you watch it?
That's subjective, and I'm not explaining why again.
up here on the screen, I have 4 pictures because they basically represent the 4 different plot lines that we see throughout all 3 of these episodes. Now, I'm going to start with Andor because even though the show is named after him and it's supposed to be a show
So weird
about
hearing
him,
myself
he
talk.
actually has the least amount of screen time and storyline in all 3 of these episodes. If you guys are thinking, that's weird,
Why isn't he cutting me off? Like, oh, is it because I'm not wrong?
No, it's because you're not done with your terrible point.
so the show is basically about 3 women. Yes, it is.
Oh yay, we're playing this game again, aren't we? That's completely disingenuous. Dedra and Siri.
No, it's not. No, it's not disingenuous.
Compare that to working a job.
Yes, there are guys in these arcs. The point I'm making, which again, this is me being guilty of giving the people watching my videos the benefit of a doubt, of having mild common sense, apparently. Guys, this is her arc. She is manipulating Cyril. He is her puppet. We are following her. When the scenes are with her, she is the main character in those scenes.
You said the show is basically about 3 women. Skids' point is that men have prominent roles as well. So this show isn't just about 3 women. This is also a nothing statement. I didn't hear people complain about A New Hope mainly focusing on Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Ben Kenobi, Darth Vader, and Tarkin, while the only comparably prominent female role was Leia. It's because this isn't valid criticism and says nothing meaningful.
Heroes share the same arc since they're a couple now this season, which we're getting into in a bit.
They don't share the same arc. They have completely different arc. She is using him. He gets revealed that he's Javert, and he dies. As a puppet of her. Everything he's doing is because of her. They don't share a fucking arc.
I don't know if you have functioning ears or not, but if they're involved in the same storyline, then they are in fact sharing a story arc. That's the obvious point that Skids was making.
They have 2 separate character arcs.
So when Skids said that they were sharing a story arc, you somehow thought he was saying they shared the same character arc? Are you stupid or something?
So they share the same plotline where they develop their relationship in a fashion that's way better than Attack of the Clones, by the way. Plus, Mon's
Way better than Attack of the Clones. Are you retarded? There's no build up to the fact that they were in a romance. All of a sudden, they are just together.
I find it funny when you say this, but blow a fuse when Skids takes a dig at Attack of the Clones. You know, the movie where Anakin blatantly shares fascist rhetoric and talks about murdering an entire race of beings because he's angry, and Padme still likes him for who he is, and she hilariously gets surprised by Anakin's turn in Revenge of the Sith because he did things that he was already doing in Attack of the Clones.
They're dead, every single one of them. And not just the men, but the women and the children too. And I slaughtered them like animals. I hate them.
Killing younglings.
Not Anakin. He couldn't.
Let's see how she justifies her take.
Anakin being in love with Padme from the moment that he met her, and then showing that care and devotion and basically obsession that he has for her throughout all of episode 2, protecting her, keeping her alive, and then her having that empathy for him, having those dreams and nightmares of his mother, considering she's known him since he was a child and watched him get taken away from his mother, and then, you know, have to deal with missing her on the way to Coruscant, and just like basically considering she's a child, she's 14 in episode 1, a child that's like the leader of a planet, having that empathy and compassion for another child that's getting thrown into this really adult situation, having to make all of these adult decisions all at once and having them bond over that. And then this new aspect of the freaking empire, I guess, republic is falling apart around them and all this shit's happening and she's trying to get, you know.
I think she gave up because she ran out of word salad to justify a weak romance. I don't have all the time in the world to talk about this in full detail, but I thought Sheev Talks did a good job explaining why this romance was done poorly, so go look at that if you're curious.
Whatever IQ level I thought this guy had, it just dropped significantly.
Cause hot damn, you wanna know what's a scam? Your fucking education, nigga. That's what the scam is.
Plotline also has her husband Perrin involved. Luthen is also there, undercover, and advising Mom what to do about her friend Tay.
Again, who is the main character in Mon Mothma's arc? Is it Mon Mothma? Is everything in this revolving around Mon fucking Mothma?
But it's not just about her. That's the point.
And what else is happening with the rebellion? On Mina Rao, it's not just Bix. There's the...
I never said it was just Bix. She is the main character that we follow. I couldn't even remember this dude's name. I could not remember him from season 1. The other dude, I don't even remember him being in season 1 either.
Sounds like a skill issue.
Woman and Brasso. The latter is essential considering that he dies at the end of this arc, and is especially the leader of the group while...
It's not essential. Literally, this entire thing could be cut out and it wouldn't affect the plot.
Kellen literally feeds intel, which facilitates the decisions they make in the plot, which Brasso is involved in. Did you watch it?
Passing is away. So pretending that it's only women is a complete fabrication in order...
I said it revolves around 3 women.
And it's not a meaningful criticism.
I didn't say they're the only ones in the show, dude. This is retarded. Like, there's no other... I can't even... I'm so tired. I can't even sugarcoat it, bro. This is fucking retarded.
You say this, but your correction to his response is, actually, I didn't say there weren't prominent male characters in the show. I said it revolves around 3 women. Despite the fact that Andor is the main character, and this is still a meaningless criticism because this doesn't say anything about what the show does or how it affects the quality.
To make a show seem like it's woke when it's not.
Bait and switch. There you go. You guys are thinking of it. I said it. You guys want to know how exciting Andor...
I didn't say woke. I said bait and switch.
But there's not a switch in the show. Andor didn't get kicked out of his own show and replaced with women. Did you watch it?
Because the show's called Andor, and it wasn't about Andor. He's barely fucking in it.
So I'm not going to go through the effort of doing this unless Anna agrees to a Disagreement Day stream, but if you're up for it, I'll put together a supercut of Andor's screen time in this season just to prove you wrong. But if you're not willing to engage at all, I'm not going to put forth the effort in doing that. So for now, all I'm going to tell you is to rewatch the show.
Andor is in his own show, like this, oh my gosh, epic plot, which is, you know, the reason why he's basically non-existent in all 3 episodes. Well, the show starts off with him stealing a tie-in scepter, except he doesn't know how to fly a tie-in scepter. He doesn't even know how to work the gadgets in a tie-in scepter. And it's just a perfect illustration of how the Empire are absolute idiot morons that don't know how to, you know, stop someone from stealing their own property.
For one, the Empire are not the idiots in this case, because Cassian had helped to infiltrate them for a traitor who...
Again, you're telling me that this little thing she hands him, like, so this entire opening scene was just to show this girl's fat ass. Like, they literally zoom into her fat ass. But guys, you're telling, like, so this dude's argument is that everyone in this entire facility couldn't shut the door,
They literally shut the door in the scene. Did you watch it?
couldn't turn on the force fields, didn't have any type of security in place.
The security is the people shooting at them. Did you watch the scene? And they literally have passwords for these ships that change regularly. That is security. Did you watch it?
You're telling me that this fat chick that just started working here is able to accomplish all this? Like, if anything, this just shows how fucking incompetent the Empire is.
Where did they say that she just started working there? They imply the opposite in the show. Did you watch it?
You made this decision long ago.
I'm actually shocked at their level of incompetence that they were even able to be in the place of power that they were. Because at this rate, literally one fucking person could take over every fucking base.
They didn't take over every base. He had to escape in the ship. Did you watch the show?
There's a contact with the rebellion. And not everyone's going to know who he is, considering that in the present arc of the last season, they arrested him for different reasons, and they didn't even know that he was Cassian Andor, which makes sense because the galaxy's pretty stinking big, and he's not so high enough in the Empire's most wanted to where he should be known across the galaxy. Plus, the reason
I need subtitles. That was
You need ears and a brain.
He is like one of the most wanted Rebel Alliance spies that they actually know for a fact he is a Rebel Alliance spy and know his face. Cyril is looking for him. Deidre is looking for him. They want him. They know him by name and face.
Just because many of the higher-ups know Cassian Andor doesn't mean everybody will. That's Skids' point. Does everyone at the Empire know him by name and face? Because he's not their top priority right now, and all Andor needs to do is sneak past fellow pilots who aren't involved in manhunts anyway. And he doesn't even show his face around very often.
Oh my goodness. It's almost like they would have holo footage of the dude that helped take down a fucking prison, and he would be on one of the most wanted fucking lists.
Do they know that Andor specifically led that escape, or that he's one of the many people who escaped from prison? They only know Andor by his fake alias, and he didn't even lead the escape. He just encouraged Kino Loy to do it. As for the escapees, that's a lot of faces and names you'll have to memorize. And even then, leading the escape doesn't make you especially important to the Empire because that doesn't lead them to all of the other escapees. And these escapees largely consist of people they don't care about or even think highly of, which is something Andor touches upon when talking about why the Empire underestimates them. So, why would the Empire be specifically hunting the escapees as if this is the top of their leads to stopping the rebellion, to the point that all of their pilots should just know Andor specifically by heart? Since when was he that important to the Empire?
You would think that they would have face recognizing software, like I said earlier in this live stream.
Do they just scan their hallways randomly for facial recognition? Since when was that a thing? Usually, they'd reserve that stuff for the entrance area, though IDs typically serve that purpose, and that obstacle can be bypassed if a fraudulent ID is used to slip through the cracks.
he didn't know how to fly the Avenger because he has different controls to the other time variants. They literally addressed this in the third episode that he was given faulty intel about the situation, which is why he
That doesn't matter. Luke Skywalker had never flown the Millennium Falcon, had never flown an X-Wing, right? And he was able to fucking fly one.
Luke Skywalker wasn't given faulty intel. What are you not getting about this? Why does this detail not matter to you? This is highly relevant context that you're just ignoring. Also, Luke didn't fly the Falcon in A New Hope. He only used its weapons, which Han would have instructed him on before using. Anytime Luke flies the Falcon afterwards would presumably be after he was instructed on how to use it. Plus, Andor does learn how to fly the TIE Fighter anyway. He just gets put off for a bit because his original intel was faulty. What is the problem here?
That fat chick could have fucking told him what kind of ship it was.
They had a singular insider who was shown to act nervously about this whole operation. If they're limited on insiders and their primary insider is prone to making mistakes when nervous, then there's a chance that some information will be faulty, especially since limited numbers will mean smaller windows of time to snatch information and relay it to others, which can result in rushing parts of the process. Luthen couldn't gain the ship's internal manual because it was too secured. Andor even mentions that there aren't any instructions on how to fly it, which is unusual for flight craft. but Cassian learned how to fly a different TIE Fighter module, which is likely to have instructions crossover between the two modules.
He initially didn't know what to do, but he does manage to get a grasp on it pretty quickly for his life and death situation.
And so he steals the tie-in scepter. He breaks down in outer space. He crash lands on this planet. And there's people there that were abandoned, but not abandoned because their team, I guess, took the ship to go back to save other people. And so there's this weird kind of power dynamic. Well, Andor is held prisoner by these people, even though he tries over and over again to tell.
By the way, he's not stopping me because nothing I'm saying is wrong.
Or because he's letting you finish.
But watch what he's about to defend. It's retarded.
Them that they are on the same team. Great communication skills, by the way. And it ends up with them coming down to like a shoot off where some people have his ship and he's tied up on their broken ship. And then there's animals and they're like, okay, we're going to have a face off instead of just killing each other. And guys, get this. The way that they decide who's going to be in charge and, you know, the ceasefire, they play a game of rock, paper, scissors. And the best out of 5 wins. I kid you not. So if anyone tries to use that argument, this is well written. This is genius writing. I want you to bring up that scene because it's retarded. So
I honestly don't see an issue with there being a Star Wars equivalent of the game, considering that Star Wars has always had it.
Bruh, you're in.
Why don't you let him finish what he's saying, you dumb bitch?
This dude is defending. They're in a life and death shoot off. They're starving. They might resort to cannibalism. They're already killing each other, which they're supposed to be friends and allies. They literally stopped to play rock, paper, fucking scissors. If you don't see a problem with that, you are fucking retarded.
Anna, the entire point of this is to avoid a violent outcome. Each side has something their opposing side wants, and both sides have plenty to lose if they start fighting each other. That's the point of a ceasefire, to reach a non-violent solution. That's why they drop their weapons beforehand. So to settle this difference non-violently, they engage in a non-violent competition. On top of this, this is a civil war between groups with common goals. In the grand scheme of things, killing each other is dumb. So this is completely logical, and you're an idiot if you can't understand this.
Oh yeah, this is realistic. Bull fucking shit. I'm gonna go ask my uncle, who fought in Vietnam, if they ever stopped to play rock, paper, fucking scissors in the middle of a shootout.
Look up the Christmas Truce of 1914. I'll even link information for you in the description.
Its own equivalent of our earthly customs and games, like the Jarik, which is their version of chess, or Pazak, which is basically just space blackjack. So I don't see the problem.
Bruh, it's fine with them having their version of chess. I'm not arguing that the game would not be feasibly possible in the Star Wars universe. I'm saying it's retarded to do it in that situation, dumbass.
Were soldiers in World War I stupid for establishing a temporary truce and playing games together? What you're complaining about isn't even an alien concept to our history.
Here. The only issue I have with this thing is that why the rebels didn't wait until morning to have their game, considering that the animals were around. But I think that Cassian would still capitalize on the opportunity to escape, and considering how competent he is, I don't doubt that he will be successful. Plus,
I didn't make that argument.
He didn't say you did, smartass. He said that he has an issue with the scene.
You're not even arguing with me. You're literally just saying how you feel about shit, and I don't care about your fifis.
Maybe you should take notes here, because the criticism he made is more earnest and accurate than the nonsense you've been spewing.
the reason why they do it is because the arc makes very clear that they're disorganized and clueless without their leader, to the point that they have their own...
Miss Brandt?
Yes.
Get me a violin.
Just because they're disorganized doesn't mean that they need to be stupid.
But being disorganized can lead to stupid decisions. That's the point.
As he's flying away, we see that they are on none other than Yavin 4 from A New Hope. Yay, member berries! Yay, yay, yay! And then what does Andor do the rest of the time?
Look here! Look, listen!
This is actual fan service that makes sense, considering that the show is about...
Okay, he didn't even address my point that I'm about to make. I mean, maybe he will.
So then unpause the video.
Guys, the point I'm about to make is that they knew, Andor knew he was coming to Yavin. Those people knew they crash landed on Yavin. Everyone there knew their base was on, you guessed it, Yavin. Yavin is a moon that is orbiting a gas fucking giant. You can see the temples at night. It's not like you're on Earth where there's no lights and you're in a forest and you can't see where the fuck you're going. There's a giant fucking planet highlighting everything. So even at night, us mere mortals we'll still be able to see a good distance in front of us.
How stupid are you? A New Hope literally shows you that Yavin still has a dark side that isn't illuminated the same way Earth does. So it makes logical sense to have day and night cycles like Earth does. There's always going to be a side that isn't facing the gas giant. Like, I can't believe how stupid this point is. You have no idea how space works.
All you had to do was stand on top of your broken ship and know, hey, the temples where our bases, where food, shelter, weapons, and supplies are, is about 20 meters that away.
Ah, yes, because crash landings are always conveniently 20 meters away from the resources they need.
Let's all walk that away, and since we all have guns, and blasters, I should say, let's all make sure that we all protect each other from all the dangerous animals in the jungle. But no, instead, what do these dumb fucks do who all know that they crash landed on Yavin? Let's just stay here and slowly starve to death and die of thirst and hunger and, like, the elements.
They literally collect food and resources in the show. They're shown to be eating them on the ship. Did you watch it?
And now we have the last season set up for the movies. They both make sense, and they set up the movie that Cassian originates from, which I consider to be a good thing.
I didn't say it didn't make sense. I said these people's incompetence and lack of intelligence doesn't make sense. That is my argument. You would know if you kept playing the rest of my video.
Your video doesn't substantiate this. You just move on after your stupid point about rock, paper, scissors.
And no, I don't believe it was set up. That's not romantic. Just because a guy saved her does not mean that's immediate romance.
So, it still establishes a reason for her to respect him. It establishes desirable qualities. And Skids didn't say saving someone in itself is a romance. You, again, just didn't listen to what he was saying. He said that their relationship was set up here. Did you watch it?
Cyril saving her from the writers here in the finale. Seems like you didn't even bother rewatching the last season to prepare for your analysis of the show. So
Why would what? Wait. Why would I have to rewatch it?
To prepare for your analysis of the next season, you fucking moron. He literally explained it in the video. Did you watch it?
It should have been so good that I would have remembered all of it, right? It should have stuck in my mind.
Your inability to retain basic information is not the fault of the creators.
This just shows how bad of a show it is.
A bad show is when they rely on basic continuity and setups. Be serious, Anna.
If I have to do homework, like, I should be able to just watch it once.
If you want to watch it once, go ahead. But don't complain when you forget details and fail to connect them to what comes after. This is entirely on you.
And yeah, I don't remember this. It was not significant. It was not done well, in my opinion, or else I would remember it.
So it's not done well because you can't remember it. That sounds like a skill issue to me.
always nice to know that you can't put in the effort to actually remember the season that this one's building off of, so you just make baseless claims. As for her,
I didn't make baseless claims. I literally said you showed the footage. You showed my uninterrupted footage of me saying I didn't remember. I said, if it was there, I don't remember. I could have lied and, bullshitted, but I didn't. I was honest. I said I didn't remember.
It doesn't matter if you chose to lie or not. His point is that you didn't remember relevant information that accounts for the point you're making, because you chose not to refresh on the first season. This is bad practice as a reviewer.
And I would like to stake my credibility as a whammon and my knowledge of the romance and, relationship department, because that's typically what women are more interested in.
We get it. You're a woman. It's in your name. I also happen to not give a fuck because that doesn't give your criticism any credibility.
We are women and we are free. We're bringing an end to the patriarchy. We are women. Hear our pain. We are women. Hear our shout. We are women. Have no doubt. We are women. We are free. We are
Shut the fuck up! Thank you.
it's like you didn't even bother rewatching the last season to prepare for your analysis of the show. It's always nice to know that you...
I didn't do an analysis. Don't flip me off, bro.
Cope.
I'm not doing an analysis of the show.
Your video is literally titled Andor Season 2 Breakdown. In the context of how your title uses that word, breakdown literally has analysis in the definition.
Cause hot damn, you wanna know what's a scam? Your fucking education, nigga. That's what the scam is.
I'm giving my summary and my 2 cents on the 3 episodes that I covered. I didn't title my video Deep analysis of Andor. If you want that kind of shit, go watch Mauler.
No thanks.
Can't put in the effort to actually remember the season that this one's building off of, so you just
I did put in the effort. I was struggling to remember, and I couldn't because it wasn't memorable.
If you put in the effort, you should rewatch it. That's called research.
That's not my fault. That's the storytelling fault.
If you forget 2 + 2 = 4, and you're over 30 years old, this is on you, not your school.
Baseless claims. As for her being more mentally...
It's not baseless claims. I literally fucking said I can't remember.
Exactly. So your claims are based on you forgetting the material. Therefore, they're baseless. You fucking idiots!
Detra's mother during the dinner scene, it kind of...
Well, see, this is pathetic. This makes you... At least for me, I'll play the Whammon card again.
We are women and we are free. We're bringing an end to the patriarchy. We are women. Hear our pain. We are women. Hear our shout. We are women. Have no doubt. We are women. We are free. We are
Shut the fuck up! Thank you.
One thing I like to address that's outside this video is the thing I saw on Twitter. It makes no sense that Dedra claims that she's from an Imperial orphanage or whatever they call it, and the Empire hasn't been around for that long. But I would just say that's either a minor typo in the script, or it could be interpreted as Dedra being loyal to the Empire, that she refers to them as such even back when they were...
If that's a typo in the script, you're really defending... So, you're calling me out for not doing my research on my extremely detailed analysis because I couldn't remember shit that happened in season 1, but you're going to defend the show and the writers for not knowing the Star Wars timeline.
He's providing the correct information when addressing a misconception, you dunce. He literally said it's either a typo or you can infer something to make sense of it. This is a neutral take that simply serves to clarify facts.
Are still just a republic, which I don't have any trouble believing considering her character, but at most, it's just a minor issue.
See? He literally says it's a minor issue, so stop bitching at him.
Before moving on to the next video, I have just one more thing to cover with Anna. On Twitter, she mocks the kiss scene between Vel and Cinta in the second arc of...
He's pulling up this? Was this him? Okay, so I'm going to read this tweet to you. So this is the mean tweet and then my quote tweet. So this is what the tweet that he's probably going to defend is saying. Well, he's flipping me off. So so I'm the bad guy in this situation. Remember that again. So this is a person named Skid says, I guess their relationship was too subtle for a bimbo like you to notice. Plus, stuff like KOTOR already had gay characters like Juani. I guess it's only ever bad when this show does anything. So I'm getting called a bimbo. I did play KOTOR. I know about the relationship. Also, I never... Listen, this shows you how stupid people... Like, so people get... I put out a simple tweet. Like, I tweet LOL and the internet loses its mind. So I put out a tweet saying, you know, I think I said something around the lines of like, oh, Star Wars is officially gay. And people were like, Anna, that's not the first gay thing in Star Wars. Here's this. I'm like, I never said it was the first.
Then why did you use the word now? You said it's now officially gay. Stop trying to rewrite history.
If I would have typed out, it's the first time ever, I would understand people being up in arms. I didn't.
Oh my fucking god, man. She's such an idiot. You literally used the word now in relation to Star Wars being officially gay, you fucking dunce.
I said, it's official now.
Yes, official now. You just admitted it right there.
Now, you guys know how have you guys ever had like those friends that like aren't dating, but they're basically doing everything that's dating, and it's like, oh, you guys are going out on dates, oh, you guys are hooking up, oh, you guys are holding hands, you guys are making out. You guys know what I'm talking about, where it's like, oh yeah, but like, no, like they're tiptoeing into it, right? But it's like, you're literally doing everything, you're just not putting a label on it. Well, me saying Star Wars is officially gay was, yes, Disney had like a background kiss between two women in The Rise of Skywalker. Yes, Johnny in KOTOR, if you play KOTOR as a female character, you eventually have the option to romance her. That's neither here nor there. I'm not arguing that exists. I'm not arguing about the fucking kiss in Rise of Skywalker, which they literally cut out for what, China and Saudi Arabia. This these are characters that, yes, were built up in season 1, were extremely hinted at, but now we get a full-on makeout, and then the camera cuts to black. I wonder what they did. Me saying it's official now is like when you got those two friends that are tiptoeing around the fact that they're together, and it's like, well, finally they finally made the commitment. They finally dove right in, right?
What the fuck was that meandering comparison? KOTOR and The Rise of Skywalker are still official Star Wars material. Anna, this is pure cope. You made a dumb statement and got flamed for it. Stop dancing around the facts.
These women are not just side characters that you can cut out of a movie.
That doesn't make it not official. That is a distinction without a difference.
I usually don't have to explain my tweets to, people that watch me because, again, maybe this is just my own fault that I give people that follow me the benefit of the doubt of having an IQ that's over 50.
No, you got caught making an idiotic statement, so you feel the need to project your own stupidity onto others because it makes you feel better about saying something obviously misinformed.
They don't care to understand me, my sense of humor, where I'm coming from, the nuances to the way that I speak.
If you worded yourself poorly and implied something you didn't mean to imply, then just say that you worded yourself poorly. That is not what you did here. Star Wars has had gay characters before this image you posted. This isn't up for discussion.
And also, I never said it was bad. I would like to point that out. They all assume, because that's how they feel.
Well, since you want to be a smartass about it, if you don't want people to think you're saying it's a bad thing, maybe don't use a word like whelp, which by definition is used to express disappointment or resignation. These are inherently negative reactions.
When I called her out on this, she claimed she wasn't implying that she...
That's you? This is you? Oh my god, you call me a bimbo? Bitch. Oh.
Miss Brandt?
Yes.
Get me a violin.
Now I know who you are on Twitter.
I'm sure Skids is now staring at his ceiling every night before sleep, murmuring in fear about how that Star Wars girl now knows who he is on Twitter.
This is also a marketing thing. So I guess this dude's name is Skids. See, my name across every platform is that Star Wars girl. Okay, yours is League Entertainment, but then you go on, like, your channel should either be Skids or League Entertainment. Like, have one that constantly flows through everything. Like, Mauler is Mauler.
League Entertainment is an organization, not an individual. Just like how EFAP is an organization, not an individual.
I feel like the only one that's kind of like the exception is Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, because it's Geeks and Gamers and then it's like Jeremy and then he's got like his Jeremy Prime. I feel like that's the one exception because his channel is like an ensemble of people.
Oh, so just like League Entertainment.
But now that I know that this dude called, well, first off, I'm apparently the worst person ever, and then he called me a bimbo.
He said you were one of the worst critics, not the worst person ever. Did you read it?
I don't think anything I've done or have said is worthy of being called a bimbo.
You insult people for disagreeing with you on Star Wars. Stop the virtue signaling.
If you want to be sexist, be sexist.
I've never heard of this word until this video, so I decided to Google it. A bimbo can refer to a foolish, stupid, or inept person. I'd say that you fit the bill, but I find it fascinating how you're trying to frame Skids as a sexist for saying this based on a definition he isn't using. Meanwhile, you're referring to people as artards over their Star Wars opinions. And depending on your usage, this can be an ableist insult. Since you're putting Skids in such bad faith, I'll assume you're using definition 1 instead of definition 2.
So because I am a whammon, like, would you call a dude a bimbo because he had an opinion that you don't like on the internet? Probably not.
And how would you know that? Did you ask him personally? Should we have Skids leave a comment right now just to confirm?
Listen, you can call me a lot of names. I don't see how bimbo applies to me.
It's because you're stupid.
No, my other potential guest has not replied to me yet.
I have a list of potential guests you should bring on. First and foremost, Skids. He would love to show up. Secondly, myself. You can bring Robot Head or someone else on if you'd like. Make sure he's okay with enabling comments though.
When I called her out on this, she claimed she wasn't implying that she thought it was bad, that I had exposed my bias, that I need to solve my anger issues. For one, use the word whelp. In this context, whelp is the expression of disappointment and acknowledgement of someone on the.
Okay. Oh my God. So these people, I didn't spell it like this.
You didn't spell it correctly because either you're stupid or you were just careless. And regardless of that, we know you were intending to use the slang variant of the word well. But hey, let's look into the spelling you used for it. It either falls under a noun or a verb, neither of which fits your usage of the word. You used it as an interjection in the tweet, meaning neither of these definitions that either talk about animals or children apply to your usage. Anna, stop trying to be a smartass about this, because all I'm going to do is be a smartass in return, but actually successful this time.
Also, this is willingly ignorant.
It's willingly ignorant to interpret words based on their definitions. You heard it here, folks.
You are talking to me and my inflections and my nuances of things. It's not my fault you don't understand my sense of humor and my sarcasm.
No, he understands it quite well. He said you mocked the kiss on Twitter. This is based on him understanding the words you used. You can't cope your way out of this one. The best you can do is remind us that you're a woman and use that self-victimization as a shield.
And you can't hear the tone of my voice.
But we can read the words you use.
Also, I didn't spell it like this. I didn't spell whelp. I spelled it WHELP.
Because you fucked up your own spelling.
And it's the way I was using it was not this way.
Oh, really? Then tell us how you were using it. Because the definitions about mammals and children won't cut it.
In slang, whelp is used as an informal variant of well to express resignation, disappointment, or acceptance of an outcome. Was that how I was using it?
Yeah, that's the definition of the fucking word you intended to use.
No, it wasn't. Funny how that is, right?
Desirable. So very clearly, you were claiming that it was inherently bad because it was in it.
No, I wasn't. That's you projecting something else onto me.
No, that's him reading the words you used and basing his interpretation of how they're defined and generally used.
But remember, his people came to my thing and said that he wrecked me.
Yeah, he did. Skids absolutely destroyed you. This was an embarrassment of a review, and this response was even worse. You had to resort to victimizing yourself by reminding us 1,000 times that you're a woman, as if they give your stupid arguments any credence whatsoever. You were ridiculed by a channel called League Entertainment. Be gone. Throw in the towel. Sayonara.
So next time you might want to do some basic research on what words mean, as opposed to backtracking your brain-dead criticisms and claiming it's your critics that are.
My brain dead criticisms. This entire video was a brain dead criticism. And I think you should take your own advice because you didn't even have the definition of the word that I spelled.
The definition of the word you spelled does not apply in the context of your usage. Almost like this is a misspelling and you're doing a terrible job of covering it up.
I never argue that. Okay, so now he's gonna go argue with Star Wars Theory. We are fucking done. But that was League Entertainment.
Yeah, that was. And they destroyed you. And you're coping and seething about it. This is genuinely one of the worst things I've ever covered in a response video. This was a self-sabotaging disaster of a response. The amount of times Anna sets up the opposition to dunk on her is incredible. There was no self-awareness whatsoever, and this definitely made for some great entertainment. I know some of you may think I'm being harsh in this response, but when I respond to people, I give the same energy as I'm given. If she wants to insult and ridicule people, I'm going to make fun of her in response. Plus, it's an excuse to spice up the video for entertainment. For those who have made it this far, feel free to subscribe. Also, make sure you subscribe to League Entertainment and support their video responding to Anna's awful review. Likes and comments will definitely aid the algorithm. That's all I got for now. We'll see you all in the bright future.